Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what is a cell. And so if you know that cells are the basic occupants of all living bodies, and we know it's a very basic fundamental in life science, and the reason for that is because it's a basic fundamental in all living things. It's very, very important. All living things must have cells in order to live. All living things share this characteristics. So, now the basic textbook, dictionary definition for a cell is this: a membrane-covered structure that contains all the necessary materials in order for life. And these necessary materials help the cell function and carry out different jobs to within different organs and parts of the body, and these jobs are what fuels the organs and helps the organs function and lets the body as a whole function. So another way of putting the definition for the cell is a basic subunit. It is the basic subunit of our bodies, right? It's the structural makeup that makes up every single part and organ. And like I said before, these here, how about we use an example? For example, let's say we take a microscope and we zoom into the human skin. You're going to see lines and lines of, and it doesn't have to be the human skin, it could be any part of the body. And you're going to see lines of these seemingly identical circular objects, and these are our cells. And you might see these tiny little dots, which is the nuclei that are in the cells. It's the brain of the cells. So all of these cells, they're carrying out these different functions and helping the organ as a whole function. And so how does it do this? It takes in nutrients. The cells, they take in these nutrients, they absorb them, and they convert it into energy. And this energy helps the organs function, and then when the organs function, our body starts to function. So that's why it's important that we provide nutrients for these cells, because that way the cells function, and then the organs function, and then we function. So that's our basic definition of the cell. So what's next? Well, there are different types of cells, and all of these cells have 5 characteristics. And these 5 characteristics are: 1, they all have a cell membrane. And if you recall from before, I said that in the textbook dictionary definition, it said that it's a membrane-covered structure. So this is that membrane, the cell membrane. And so the function of the cell membrane is, well, it's like this layer of, it's like this tiny layer that coats the cell, and it regulates what comes inside the cell and what goes out of the cell. So, it's a very important job, because you don't want waste materials coming in, you want it going out, and similarly, you don't want nutrients going out, you want the nutrients coming in. So all of these things are regulated by the cell membrane. Next is hereditary material. So the hereditary material, also known as DNA, is it's like this unique part of all cells, right? So here, DNA. So this hereditary material, it describes the different unique parts of every single person, and all cells have this. Now the next thing is the cytoplasm. So cytoplasm is this gel, this fluid-like liquid that absorbs every cell, and it coats the different organelles. And that brings me to the next characteristic. So organelles are the parts, the different materials that helps function the cell, and it's one of the most important. So not all cells have the same number of organelles, but they do have organelles. And so cytoplasm and the cell membrane are all organelles. And so these two organelles are common to all cells. It's very important that the organelles are there in the cell, because these organelles is what help the cell function, right? And I explained before, if the cell doesn't function, we don't, right? And I didn't elaborate as much on cytoplasm, but the cytoplasm, the liquid, it's what cushions the organelles. So it's also a very common feature in all cells. The next common characteristic is actually kind of obvious. All cells are small. They're microscopic, and you can't see them with the naked eye. So those are the 5 characteristics of cells, and before, the basic definition of cells, right? And if you're more interested to learn about cells, I'm providing more videos about prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells and the different organelles of cells. And also, I'm thinking about making a whole new different list of videos on DNA and genetics. So, thanks you guys. Bye.